Hello everybody, welcome back to TROOPZ Arsenal podcast. And in this video, we are going to be looking at Mikel Arteta's progress so far, trying to evaluate what he has done, what he has failed to do. Is he the right manager? I've never thought he was the right manager for Arsenal. And there's so many people who think like me, but there are other people who think otherwise. And we are going to try to justify both points of view. Is Mikel Arteta really giving us that progress? Is he taking us somewhere, or he's actually drowning us? And I like the statistics on the on the Premier League website, and I think that's what we're going to be using and trying to see what has Mikel Arteta done in the past 35 games, especially in the 2020-2021 season. Are we really making a lot of progress from the Unai Emery era? Because that's where many people are comparing him from. That if you sacked Unai Emery, who was actually doing better than Mikel Arteta, then why don't you sack Mikel Arteta? Has he got the right backing? Is he getting the right resources from Arsenal? Do you back him? Do you sack him? Where do you pull the plug? That is what we are going to be looking at in this video. So consider smashing the like button as well as subscribing if you do like such content on your screen. So first and foremost, let us look at what Mikel Arteta has achieved so far this season. He's played 27 games. He has 11 wins and 11 losses. For me, this is where I don't get it. He scored 35 goals and conceded 28 goals. He's kept 8 clean sheets. That is according to Mikel Arteta this season in a summary. 27 games played, 11 losses, 11 wins. So we have lost the same number of games we have won. And actually, for me, this really doesn't make sense, does it? It really doesn't make sense to an extent that Frank Lampard, who was actually doing better at Chelsea, was sacked. Unai Emery, who was doing better than this, was sacked. And this is what I said before we entered the January window, that I think we need a new manager. I think we need someone better than Mikel Arteta. He has a vision. There is a project probably going on. But these figures, these statistics are so bad. 11 wins, 11 losses. We have scored 35 goals and we have conceded 28. That means we have a goal difference of just 7 goals. For me, this is not good enough. But let us look at area per area and see, is there any progress or is there anything good out of the Mikel Arteta era? Let us start with the attack. We have scored 35 goals this season. We score an average. We average a goal 0.3 per game. We have 322 shots in 35 games. We have 105 shots on targets. We have a shooting accuracy of 33%. This is where things go wrong, and we are ending the season and there is no change. And this is actually very, very true. If you look at the Burnley game, we created chances. There are so many games we have created chances, and our finishing is so poor. Apart from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who I think is a clinical finisher by birth, I don't see any other player that Mikel Arteta has transformed into a good finisher, like Raheem Sterling was transformed by Pep Guardiola at City. I don't see, and we were told that he's a very good manager, and we were told that he's very good at improving talent. But Bukayo Saka, very poor finishing, and don't get me wrong, I like Saka and he's our best player, but his finishing is so poor. Pepe, yeah, he's the second best finisher at Arsenal, but look, he needs to get that, he needs to get that extra touch from a manager to become, better. And I think Arteta is not doing that. Penalties scored, we have scored 5, we have created 31 big chances, and we have, hit the woodwork 14 times. Now look at this, we have created 31 big chances in 35 games. So that means that on average, we can't average a big chance per game. This is, that is what I really call ridiculous. That per game, you can't create a big chance. And that means you can't score goals. And that's the reason as to why we're having only 35 goals in 27 games, because the reason is we are not creating chances good enough. If you look at the team play, we have averaged 14,000 passes in 35 games. We have 519 passes per game. Of course, that means we really pass the ball a lot. We have a passing accuracy of 84%, which is not bad enough. We have 536 crosses, and our crossing accuracy is 20%. That means that out of the 536 crosses you bring in, less than 100 are accurate. So the crosses are useless. We bring in crosses up, just for the sake. And I don't see why we bring in so many crosses when Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Lacazette do not score goals, off their heads. I don't know why we bring in so many crosses, until this minute. Defensive-wise, where many people have gone in defense. Mikel Arteta, of course, saying that Mikel Arteta has improved Arsenal's defense and everything defensive-wise. This is where I want us to get it right. I think under Unai Emery, where we played free-flowing football, our defensive shape was not so good because we could easily get exposed. And I think Mikel Arteta has really changed this. Arsenal do not get exposed that much this season. But if we actually go down and look at how Arsenal is faring defensive-wise, you might be shocked. We have 8 clean sheets. We have conceded 28 goals. We concede a 1.04 goals per game. And remember, we score 1.3 goals per game, and now we're conceding 1.04. So that means the difference between the goals we score and the goals we concede is not there. So that means, that for me, that really explains why Arsenal is struggling, in the 10th and 11th positions on the table, because literally we are not making any progress. The goals we score and the goals we concede. Our goalkeeper has made 74 saves. We have 312 tackles. We have a tackle success rate of 58%. And a couple of other things there. We have collected 38 yellow cards in 35 games, and 5 red cards. Our discipline has always been under question, and you people know that. And still, it's a question. It's a really big question whether we've got to ask Mikel Arteta why our defensive discipline is, why our discipline is actually very poor, because I don't know whether it was due to the frustration levels, because I still remember Pepe, Xhaka, and a couple of other red cards that were not actually called for. But I think things are becoming a little bit better now, and I will give a lot of credit to whoever is managing that. So now the discussion and the big question after looking at those statistics is, where do we go from here? Is Mikel Arteta the right man for this job? Do we sack him? Do we back him? And in my answer, or in my perspective, you've got to tell me what you think in the comment box below. But what I think, about this is, you might need to keep Mikel Arteta until the end of the season, because for me, it doesn't make any sense if you sack him right now and bring in another manager. It doesn't make any sense. Then, at the end of the season, because I know we are not going to be among the top 7, that is already confirmed. We are also not going to be among the Champions League, group, because we are not going to win the Europa League. I don't think we will win the Europa League, and I shared my reasons. And I'll talk more about that when we do the Olympiacos preview. But I would keep Mikel Arteta until the end of the season. For me, before January, I would sack him. And you still remember, I told you I would sack him. Bring him in, bring in a manager who could actually start this year. Arsenal decided to back him, and how did they back him? By letting go of Deadwood and bringing in a Martin Odegaard and a backup goalkeeper, which wasn't so bad considering the corner Arsenal is in financially. But Mikel Arteta, for me, has never been the right manager for this job. He has never been that person that you see is eager to take this team forward. The way he answers in press conferences, I just don't feel him. I just don't feel him. I'm telling you. And I would sack him and bring in someone like Allegri or Nagelsmann, RB Leipzig. Because that's the big question again. That if you sack him, and this is where many people who like Mikel Arteta, ask, if you sack him, then who do you bring him in? I'll bring in Nagelsmann and try to give him some of the resources that we are going to give Mikel Arteta. This guy is just unexperienced, and this is a problem. He's coming from City as a backup, not as a helper to Pep Guardiola, and then you're bringing him on a very high-profile job like Arsenal. For me, that was a big mistake. That was a big mistake. We should have let him, if we wanted Mikel Arteta, we should have let him go to a club like probably Southampton or Sheffield, be there for 2 seasons and then bring him in. He would have had, a lot of experience. But now he's learning from the job and things are actually not working up. And I don't think things are going to work out for him in the next season because there are so many mistakes that he's doing. And I think he's making them because of his, virginity as a manager. Look, Arsenal never have a starting lineup. We never have one. And he's been here for 35, for more than 35 Premier League games. And we don't have, a starting lineup. And it's a big question. Very, very big question that why don't we have a starting lineup? Why don't we have a consistent defense? Look at the way he handled, players like William Saliba. For me, I think he's not the right man for the job. And if Arsenal want to drown, then we should keep him. But if we want to get better, then we should actually get rid of him. Anyway, tell me what you think about Mikel Arteta. I'll be discussing more today about Granit Xhaka. I think we need to talk about Granit Xhaka, and I'll produce a video about Granit Xhaka this week. I'll also produce a video about Tariq Lamptey today and the Breaking Arsenal news show where we discuss all the stories around Arsenal.